In the last GoDjango video, we went over raw forms. We basically created our forms in HTML, and then we displayed them to the user. Then once the user hit the submit button, it posted back to our view, and we managed it all manually. It's not a very fun way to do forms. So today we're actually going to use class-based forms, which is one of the first ways that we're going to deal with forms using the Django way of doing things. And it's a very convenient way of doing forms. First though, let's take a look at what we have on the side of what we've already done. So the first thing we need to do is we actually need to run our server. There we go. HTTP //localhost 8000/contact. And there we go. We have our form with two things going, and yay, we can do stuff. So let's jump over here. First thing we need to do is we need to actually see about creating our forms. That is actually pretty simple with class-based forms because we just create a Python class. Basically, we're going to create an object for us to instantiate later and send to the template and actually use. To do that, I usually like to create a forms.py in our app. So we're just going to go ahead and create our forms.py. First thing that we need to do in our forms file is we need to import the Django form base classes. So from Django import forms. That was simple. Next we need to actually create our form object that we're going to use. We're going to inherit from the form base class. Once we've declared our form object, we need to actually create our fields, and that's super simple. If you've done much with models, it's almost essentially the same thing. So let's do that real quick. Okay, now we've declared our fields. We've declared an email field, a name field, and a message field. Note the email field, we do the email equals forms.email field, and then the label equals your email. What that is doing is it's creating a char field, it's creating an input field, and actually assigning it some things to do on validation. In the case of this, in the email field, it's actually going to validate that there is an actual email that is being submitted, and if it is, it's actually going to kick back an error, and we'll see where it checks for that validation. We're also going to do a later video strictly on validation, so we're not going to do a lot in this video on it. We're just trying to get you familiar with the actual using class-based form. And then we're doing name is doing a char field. That's going to actually create just a normal standard input box. It's also going to create a label in front of it named name. And then note we have message equals forms.char field. Again, that is to say it's going to be a character field and to treat it that way. And then we have label equals body. And then note we have the widget equals forms.text area. This is to further define what's actually going to be displayed on the page. There's several widgets to choose from. In this case, we just want a giant text area so that we can write more than one line of content and actually see what's going on. The next thing we need to do is actually send our form to our template, and we do this inside of our view. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then just like sending normal data to our view, we're just going to do form, and then we're just going to instantiate a new object. And that's going to send our form object to our template for us to use. So let's actually go ahead and do what we need to do in our template. And it's very simple to start. Well, very simple in general. Line 9 and 10 here is where we've actually put our input, where we're actually going to do our text fields and stuff. We're just going to go ahead and delete those. And we're going to do a simple one-liner. What this is going to do, it's going to generate our form and wrap every field inside of a paragraph tab. This is a quick helper so that you can actually quickly display something on the page and you're good to go. So let's go ahead and write that. Now that we have that done, let's actually look at it and see what we have. And there's our original. This is actually a really good error to note because we need to actually import our feedback form into our view. And there we are. This is our new form using our class-based form system. Do your email, note the labels, we have a text area, and 2 text fields, input fields. There are actually many ways to actually display your form in HTML beyond just using the little shortcut as P. Let me just quickly show you another one of those ways you can do it. So note you have the form object that is being passed. What we can actually do is we can loop through all the form fields. This will actually loop through all the form fields and allow us to actually display things as we want to. So I want to display each of these inside of a div. And actually in front of each of these, I actually want to do the label as well. Let's go ahead and look at what we have. Note, it's almost the exact same, but see how everything is cinched up? You can tell it's actually now done with divs and they're using block level elements. There are many other ways you can actually display data, and we'll get into another couple of them in the next video. I just wanted to show you 2 that you could possibly use for now. The next thing that we need to do is we need to actually deal with our form on the back end in our view. So as you might notice, this is our view that we used in the last video. We're just going to do a couple of minor quick edits. So the first thing is we need to actually get our form object. And we can actually get this from our post data. This line will actually pre-populate a form object and assign it to form, a feedback form object and assign it to form. Then all we need to do is check to make sure that all of the fields are valid. And isn't that kind of simple? Is valid. I like how simple that is. And it does a check against all the validation that is required to do. Again, we'll cover validation in a later video. And at this point, we actually will process. But we also need to do a little thing in case the actual form isn't actually valid. So let's actually go and take a run through this. Note here that it's actually going to print out data to the command line. So let's actually test this out. So first, let's just do nothing and do submit feedback. And see here, we get something went wrong. Okay, now let's actually add information. And do our submit feedback. Thank you for your feedback. Come back over here and see buddy and I'm a body. Ran in the command line. So let's actually try this again, and let's not use an email. And again, we get this sorry something went wrong. So that shows that is valid is actually checked. I hope you found this video useful in further defining how you do your forms and making things much simpler in the future as you deal with forms to interact with your users. Please visit our website, GoDjango.com, and subscribe to our RSS feed so that you can stay up to date and watch plenty of other videos. And definitely, if you haven't caught the first video, give that a watch so that you are a little more into knowing what's going on. Please also visit our Facebook page and like us and participate in the conversations that we have on there. Thank you and have a great day.